we are announcing something called Strategic Vision. Okay. And just real quick overview, Strategic Vision started off as addressing the need to help organizations keep up with seemingly endless amounts of data coming off their IoT sensors and security like cameras and so forth. And as Howard and I have talked about these struggles and what different nonprofits, education, other SLED customers, he introduced me to certain teams at Microsoft and eventually NVIDIA that we have worked with to accomplish this goal. So as a result, Strategic Vision was born. So Strategic Vision is using AI at the edge to gather things like security video and other IoT data to bring those together for more comprehensive analysis. So we can actually not just apply AI to those and see in, historical reports, but more importantly, to now take action on the data in real time. So today we're going to give you a quick demo of just a little bit of the power of bringing together enterprise proven and world-class performing. And you guys that have not, seen a DataON, an Azure Stack HCI running on DataON, you have to talk to an existing customer to see what that world-class performance looks like. So we're bringing that together, DataON, Azure Stack HCI, and NVIDIA GPUs to create an end-to-end workflow. Now, again, we're talking about edge AI at the edge, which means this is on premises, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the most common data source that all organizations have, but honestly underutilize, which is your video, okay? So we talk to a lot of organizations, and like what you're talking about, Alan, talking about, this hybrid workload is very important. Well, they talk about not just we need to keep the data and the pictures on premises, but they all talk about, hey, we have too little coverage. And it always comes like hey, don't tell anybody, but this part of the parking lot or this part of the hall or whatever is not covered. Then about 5 minutes later, yeah, we have too many video streams. So we talk about both. We have too little coverage and we have too much coverage. And honestly, the reason for that is there's just too much data to collect for historical reporting, much less identify objects and actions of interest in real time. Okay, so let me tell you what my analogy to all of this video that traditionally existing security camera companies do is they overwhelm you with useless data. Okay, what do I mean by useless data? Here I am in Memphis, Tennessee. And let's say that I have a data center in Memphis, Tennessee, and the way I'm going to monitor that data center is watch the national nightly news, okay? And I'm going to watch them talk for 2 hours, and I'm going to be watching the whole time. Are they going to say anything about Memphis? Are they saying anything about riots or storms or power or anything? So I watch for 2 hours, okay? So there's so much noise. They're telling me about all these things that I don't care about. They're never saying the terms Memphis. The other thing is it's passive information. I have to see it for something to happen. Now, what if instead I introduce a NOC that actually looks for specific events and can take some action? What we're talking about is introducing this NOC for your AI workloads, okay? So we need to start focusing attention on interesting objects or events using enterprise AI. So we need to clear up the focus. So, hey, everybody but Caroline, can you leave the room? Okay, Barry, will you unblur her face?
Okay, small Caroline.
Okay.
Okay.
So what we're demonstrating is we're using a budget-friendly camera from a well-known brand that is used particularly at nonprofits and schools. including some of our existing customers. And remember, this is AI at the edge. So we're keeping all the videos and pictures on premises, storing these on Azure Stack HCI, using DataON hardware, using NVIDIA GPUs, okay? And what we're demonstrating here is we're using one camera and creating two separate streams to show two different AI models, and they're actually more than just two AI models running concurrently. So the one on the left is selective blurring. So it's only looking for a face, and this was a very quick analogy. In fact, what we did is we just used a single frame for Caroline to say we don't want to blur her face. And so even though we could say, hey, don't blur or blur faces that are in a particular region of a particular camera, we're not doing that. We're actually focusing on a single picture of her face. And again, remember, this is at the edge, so we're keeping this, on premises. The example on the right where it shows YMCA, Caroline, can you finish that out? Thank you. Is a game example that we created for a conference. And this is just kind of using our imagination to say, okay, so we're seeing the same video, and what we're doing is creating, and again, this is not a Kinect camera, like if you remember the old Xbox Kinect. It's not a special Kinect camera that has a laser in it, any type of infrared sensors. This is a normal budget-friendly camera that we're doing multiple things from. So, use your imagination. The part on the left, we've heard a lot of interest about, hey, we need to go back to a historical incident, and we need to have this hour-and-a-half incident that, we don't want to get permission from hundreds of other students. We just want to see the two children involved or something. And so currently they do things like that by hand. Now you can see that Caroline went blurred because, again, we took one facial just for this one demo. So, in real life, we'd take multiple and cluster those together. But so think about the uses of that. Think about the uses of the skeleton where certain body landmarks are in certain positions, maybe indicative of, a fight going on, doing the robot apparently, or like if somebody has fallen down. So as you can imagine, I'm very excited about this because think about all the different use cases. Identifying maybe backpacks in areas they shouldn't be, backpacks that have stayed still for more than 15 seconds in an area it shouldn't be. The number of people, measuring the number of people coming into an area, maybe even over a point in time to be able to measure maybe capacity. Actually knowing how many people are in a big auditorium or something that has 9 entrances. So accumulating all of that for the sake of if a natural disaster comes through. How many people are currently in a building? Picking up license plates to do a car pickup line for school. There are so many different use cases that it almost becomes that we just have to get really creative and just ask for somebody, what are your current problems? If you don't know how to solve your issues, it's a great way we can step you through this and brainstorm using your existing protocols, as well as addressing problems that you haven't solved, in the past and don't know how to solve. What we're showing at the bottom is, this doesn't really make any sense, but what we're showing is that we can take disparate systems. Here we're counting the number of faces that we saw and the number of times that YMCA was spelled out, which is data that you can't count together, but we can actually bring all these different types of systems into one dashboard. So think about if you had a keycard system and you have your camera systems, and maybe you have a GPS that's keeping track of your car assets. We can bring all those data together and start to do some really interesting things with those, even if they're not all, of course, from the same vendor. So so here at our office, we purposely use lots and lots of different off-the-shelf cameras that are, quote, incompatible with each other, because it's not doing AI in the cloud. It's not doing AI on the camera. It's doing it on a local Azure Stack HCI running on DataON equipment using NVIDIA GPUs. So let me just turn off this. Where'd it go? So just real quick to finish up, we've talked about video, but we're using AI to turn the video into actionable data points, okay? And that's two of the key words. One, data point, meaning it's an objective data point. Two, actionable. Most every other time that we bring this data in together, it's passive. We just see it happening. We don't interact with something else that can take action on it. So from there, we can consolidate these data points with other systems. Keep in mind, this is AI at the edge. So strategic vision doesn't just apply to video. It applies to things that we can gather and make reports and make actions based on using AI at the edge. So strategic vision both creates and consolidates data points from disparate systems to give a complete vision into the organization.